I'm a robot vacuum cleaner, so yeah, I got one gig. I suck up dirt, so pardon my inferiority complex about Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could they save their customers money on car insurance, but they got fast and friendly claim service too, and an award-winning mobile app. Plus access to licensed agents 24/7. Who am I kidding? I can't even do corners. Uh-oh, choking hazard.
Popcorn kernels.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show, here with you, as I love to do, every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio, 250-plus markets across the United States of America, and, of course, ESPN on Sirius XM Radio, Channel 80. Number to call up, as always, is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Cars, homes, boats, motorcycles, RVs, and more at Progressive.com. We'll get in and we'll continue to get into a lot of this stuff about Josh McDaniel reneging on his promise to take the job for the Indianapolis Colts. Left their organization hanging, had them hire a few assistant coaches that he recommended, and then he's not showing up for the job. The belief is that he's the heir apparent to Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft met with him, told him how valuable he is to them, that they want to keep him on board, and they'll allow him to be a more active participant in the draft and scouting and evaluating players and all of this other stuff. He's got 4 kids and a wonderful wife, and he doesn't want to leave the New England area, and there you have it. But it was incredibly unprofessional. It was a bad decision on his part. His agent, who is the same guy that represents Coach GM Chris Ballard, called it. He told Josh McDaniel, according to the report, you're committing career suicide. And then he subsequently terminated his contract with Josh McDaniels. And so that's what you have right now. A situation where Josh McDaniel doesn't have an agent, but he has a job. He's staying in New England, and it is what it is. So we've got that going on. We saw Cleveland on the basketball side stink up the joint in Orlando last night. They've got a game at home against Minnesota tonight. Jimmy Butler, Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins and the crew. Who knows? Who knows whether they'll win or lose that game the way they've been playing defense. And obviously LeBron James, D. Wade, and Isaiah Thomas has had something to say. Do we have that sound, y'all? Do we have that sound? All right. Let's first hear from LeBron James. LeBron James obviously had some things to say, and he was broached with the question as to whether or not he would waive his no trade clause and how he feels about his teammates and all of this other stuff. Listen to King James speak last night following their loss.
Listen, hello? I'm here for the long haul. I'm here for this season right now to try to, figure out ways we can still compete. I couldn't give up on my teammates like that. I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do it. We put too much into the game, every single day. We go out and prepare, even though win, lose, or draw. At the end of the day, we are brothers and we understand that. So, I owe it to my teammates to finish the season out, no matter how it ends up. So, no, I would never waive my no trade clause.
That was LeBron James. He would never waive his no trade clause. The other side to all of this is Isaiah Thomas speaking about the troubles in Cleveland and how they're like 7-13 over the last 20 games and they look god awful and what have you. Listen to what Isaiah Thomas had to say about the team last night.
As players, we gotta do better. I mean, when they start to go on their runs, which teams is gonna do each and every game, we gotta come together. And it's like right now, when we hit adversity, we go our separate ways, and that's just how I feel, and it looks like that as well. And guys start to go one-on-one on offense, and then defense is every man for himself.
That was Isaiah Thomas. I don't know how anybody could disagree with what he said. The only issue is that should he have been the one to say it? Some people have a problem with him saying anything, considering how awful he's looked since he's come back from hip surgery. Me personally, I have no issues with what he said because it was absolutely positively factual. But I would prefer to hear from a champion, like a 3-time champion, who's a future Hall of Famer himself. His name is Dwayne Wade. Look at what he had to say about what's going on in Cleveland. We don't have that right now. We'll get back to you with that. But basically what Dwayne Wade said is that he's never been a part of anything this bad. It's not that they're losing. It's how they're losing games. The lack of effort, the lack of urgency, the laissez-faire, nonchalant attitude that they have. And this man's been around for quite a long time, and he's never seen anything like it, never been a part of anything like it. To me, this is what happens when you are playing with an organization led by Dan Gilbert as opposed to an organization led by Pat Riley. Now, Dan Gilbert, to be fair, is an accomplished businessman. Nobody can take away from what he's accomplished and what he has achieved. And I personally believe that the friction between him and LeBron James has a lot to do with their troubles. I personally believe he wants LeBron James to just go. Since you're going to leave anyway, just get the hell up out of here and just go. But LeBron James has a no trade clause. He ain't waiving it. And he don't give a damn what Dan Gilbert wants. And everybody else is stuck in the middle. And in the meantime, the Cavaliers look awful. I mean, just awful. I think they look so bad that they'll avoid going to the conference finals just so they don't have to lose to Kyrie. That's how bad I think Cleveland looks right now. And I just think that needs to be said. Golden State doesn't look great either. They lost last night to OKC. OKC beat them by about 20. Russell Westbrook had 34. Paul George put on a show, and he had 38, hitting 6 3-pointers. His game looks so smooth. He's so efficient. The Warriors have something to be worried about, but it's not because of OKC. It's not even because of the formidable Houston Rockets. Here's why the Golden State Warriors need to be concerned. You can get physical with them. You can get physical with them and cause them problems. They don't like it. That's your problem. That's what's going on. And that's what can't be ignored. They don't like you getting physical with them. Now, Draymond Green doesn't mind, but he gets feisty and emotional and ultimately finds himself ejected like he did last night. He's got 13 technical fouls this year. Golden State's leading the league with 34 ejections, I believe. Not ejections, technical fouls, whatever it is. Look, this is bad. And I think that if you could get physical with Golden State and the officials allow it, Golden State could be had. I just know they won't allow it over the course of a 7-game series. So Golden State will win its shared games. It'll lose its shared games. But when it really, really counts, Golden State is going to get favorable officiating, and that's going to be enough for them to win. That's what I believe. But it does look interesting, particularly when you consider what we're seeing from Houston and the kind of noise it's capable of making. James Harden with CP3 on their A game can beat the Golden State Warriors. Yes, they can. Russell Westbrook with Paul George and Melo on their A game. Melo didn't play last night but 6 minutes. Then he got hurt. He had missed his first 4 shots and then twisted or tweaked his ankle or something. But the point is, if they're playing their A game offensively, defensively, Oklahoma City is no joke. Offensively, if they're playing the A game, they can beat Golden State. I'll go as far as to say this. Golden State needs to have their A game in order to beat these teams. Whereas in the case of Cleveland, it don't look like anything will help them. So it's real tricky to get into. But we shall see. Harry in Iowa, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead.
Stephen A., pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you.
The question for you is here, so watching all of this go down with the Cavaliers and how Dan Gilbert is handling the obvious move that LeBron James will be leaving next season. My question for you is, as a different franchise or as another franchise, why is it so obvious that the upside of LeBron James outweighs that of the downside that we're seeing right now?
I don't understand. Why isn't it so obvious?
Yeah, I mean, just with the media and generally speaking,
I don't know if it's not obvious, sir. I don't know what would make you say that it's not obvious.
Well, just looking at another franchise that you're talking about, the Rockets. Why is it so obvious that you would trade 3 years of maybe making it to the finals for all this, bad blood going down with him at the end here with the Cavaliers?
Well, listen, what I can tell you is this. LeBron James is universally recognized as the best player in the world. Nobody's going to deny that. But you got cats that they make their own money. They've got their own game. They believe in themselves, and they're not interested in being a little brother to him. And because he's back home in Cleveland, he grew up in Akron, Ohio, and because of who he is and how connected he is to that city and that area, you know, the mentality is that he can do no wrong. So anybody who goes there and plays beside him is the equivalent of a little brother. And cats just ain't interested in being that for LeBron James. That's the only thing that I can deduce from it, man. Nothing else.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Back with more of your calls in a minute. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Love Doctor up next.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
This year, be the one who wins Valentine's with 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 18 pink and red enchanted roses for only $29.99. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Stephen A. Back to the phones we go. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Still going to take my sports calls. Don't get me wrong, but it's Valentine's Day approaching, so I figured I'd incorporate the Love Doctor segment that I stole from Martin Lawrence to get on how to hear him, the Love Doctor. That's one of my funniest segments of all time. That's why I always bring up the Love Doctor, because it's one of the funniest segments. The episode when he found out that Pam and Tommy were messing with each other. That was hilarious. Just hysterical. But anyway, that's where I get it from. It's all in fun. But I also give some good advice from time to time. I don't know if y'all remember this or not. I used to do those strawberry letters with Steve Harvey, too. You know? Steve Harvey, big time. He used to bring me in, get my advice on some of this stuff. You know? He's got the lovely Marjorie, his lovely wife, doing his thing, and I'm doing mine. And I'll just leave it at that. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to Jalen in Denver. You're live with Stephen A. What's going on, Jalen?
Hey, it's all good. How you doing, Stephen A?
Talk to me, man. You sound like you're a little bit upset, bro. What's going on?
Nah, I'm not upset at all. I'm trying to figure out what to do. You know, we're 7 days away, nearly. For Valentine's
Speak up.
Day.
We can't hear you, bro. We can't hear you. What are you saying? What you trying to say? What's going on?
I'm not really into Valentine's Day. My girl is heavily. And last year, you know, I did something personal for her. I bought her I cooked that home for her, and I bought her some chocolate, gave her a massage and everything. But this year I'm feeling like, I don't know, should I repeat? Should I do the same thing? Should I try something different?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Whatever, keep them all intimate.
Hold on for a second. Let me say, how long have you been with this lady?
We've been together for 6 years.
You love her, don't you?
Absolutely.
You want her, don't you?
No question.
You know what she likes, don't you?
I do.
Then just do it. Think about what I just said.
Right.
You making it more complicated than what it really, really is. I understand that for some women, Valentine's Day is more special than any other day during the year. I can understand if you're back and forth. I can understand if you're not sure about her. I can understand all of those different things. But if you've been with her that long and you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that she is your lady and you proud to call her your lady and she is who you want, then really all it comes down to is you knowing what would make her happy on that particular day and just doing it. So do you have any doubt that you know what would make her happy for Valentine's Day?
No, no doubt at all. I know exactly what she wants.
All right. Well, if you know exactly what she wants, why are you calling me? Because you don't know whether you want to do it?
Yeah.
Now, if you don't know whether you want to do it, here's the big question. Are you having reservations about doing it because it's just something that you don't want to do? Or are you having reservations about doing it because you really are not feeling her the way that you once did?
No, it's not reservations about whether or not I'm feeling her or want to be with her. It's just I'm not really into the holiday like that.
Time out. Hold on, Jalen. How many times you want me to hurt you with some real sweet kindness right now and break this down to you? I'm willing to bet my check that the reason she been in your life for 6 years and the reason why you got so much love for her is because there's plenty of times she has stepped up and done things for you that she may not have wanted to do. Is that not true?
It's true. That's absolutely true.
Then, my brother, what's there to debate? It's
No
one
debate at
day.
all. Thanks for the clarity.
It's one day out of the year. It's her day, and she's already proven that she loves you and she would do it for you. You can't do anything that she wants for her on that particular day?
I have to, and I will.
My man, thank you for the call. Now get on out of here. I'm the love doctor. I love imitating Martin Lawrence when he says that. Roger in Queens, you live with Stephen A. What's up, Raj? Roger.
Hey, how you doing, Stephen A?
I'm listening, bro. I'm here for you. Talk to me.
Man, I don't even know where to start, man.
Make it quick, but get right to it.
Been with this girl been with her for 10 years. We got a kid together, but it's just, I don't know, it's not working out. We keep going back and forth. We argue a lot. I don't know, man. I'm trying. I want to stay with her, but it's hard, man. I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you love her?
Definitely.
Do you desire her?
Most definitely.
Does she love you?
She says she do. She acts like she does, so.
Do you believe that she loves you? Do you believe that she loves you and wants you?
Yes, sir. She does.
Okay. Then why think about all the question marks leading up to Valentine's Day? Why don't you just focus on making Valentine's Day special, reminding her of what she has in you, and then letting that day be special for her, and then use that to springboard to wherever it is that you want to go. Meaning that based off of that day and how beautiful this time is, you can then reflect upon that thereafter and gauge her accordingly. Maybe she's just as unhappy. Maybe she has just as many question marks as you, and that's why she's not making you happy, because you're not making her happy. And maybe if you made her happy leading up to Valentine's Day and on Valentine's Day, maybe you see a little difference in her behavior, and then you could judge accordingly, because if you get no difference, then you'll know what to do. But if you get some difference, then wow, the sky's the limit.
Man, she says she does, man, and she acts like it. She really does. She really put that effort out. I don't want us to break up, man. I really want us to work it out.
All right, listen to me, Roger. Listen to what I'm saying to you. You're saying you love her, and you're saying you want to work it out. And Valentine's Day is approaching. So if you love her and you want to work it out, there's something about her that's worth it. And if there's something about her that's worth it, why not just focus on making her happy and letting the chips fall where it may from that premise?
She wants to get married, too. I might just propose on Valentine's Day. That would be a perfect...
Well, listen. That would be the perfect time to do that. She wants to get married, and you want to marry her. It sounds like you want to marry her to me. Roger, take the plunge. If you know that you want that woman, don't hesitate. See, somebody like me, I'm not sure. But you're sure. And if you're sure, that makes you a better man than most. Go for yours. Because if you're sure, that means she has shown you she's worthy. Appreciate the call, Roger. Go for it and call me back. Doug in Indiana, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, man.
Hey, Steve. Great to talk to you, man.
Thank you. I'm here for you. You sound, the inflection in your voice, tells me that something is wrong. Doug, what's going on?
Well, been with my wife. It'll be 3 years this year. Both of us was married 25 years to our first marriage.
Okay.
And Valentine's Day coming up, she's kind of into the bling. And right now I ain't got the cash for the bling, but I don't want to upset her and not get her what she wants. So I really don't know what to do.
Let me tell you something right now. I don't care how much she's into the bling. Anybody that has been married for 25 years and then ultimately finds themselves divorced and in a new relationship, because that's what you're telling me, right, Doug?
Right.
If they find themselves in a new relationship, the bling glosses over and camouflages what their real craving is. What their real craving is to be loved and adored and made to feel like a diamond. It's not the actual diamond. So if you've been with this woman for 3 years, I believe you probably know what makes her happy. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Then if you know what makes her happy and you know you want her, then on this particular day, do what it takes to make her happy, to make her feel like that diamond. Because if you don't have the cash and you don't have the bling, right? But she been with you for 3 years, what does that tell you? It don't matter when it come to you. You are her bling. You are her cash. You are her value. I think you cutting her a little bit short. If you just met her, it would be different. But you can't tell me that you don't have bling, that you don't have cash, but she been with you for 3 years, but that's what she cares about. If she's been with you that long and that's what she cares about and you don't have it, then why has she been with you? It's because of you. I think you cutting yourself a little bit short, my man. You are her bling. You are her you are her sunshine. You make her happy when skies are gray. I think you need to elevate your level of self-confidence and go out there and put a smile on that woman's face like you know how to and say, baby, I don't have the world to give you, but you're my world and this is all I have and it's yours. I promise you, she ain't gonna have a problem with that.
That is awesome.
Now get on out of here. I'm the love doctor. You know, couples love to show off what their spouse surprised them with. This year, be the one who wins Valentine's at 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you order early, you can get 18 pink and red enchanted roses for only $29.99. Valentine's Day is a week away, so don't put this off. Make sure you lock in this offer. Only good while supplies last. To order 18 red and pink enchanted roses for only $29.99, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter promo code SAS. Order today and save at 1-800-Flowers.com. Promo code SAS. You're listening live to Stephen A. and the Love Doctor right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Back with more on LeBron, Josh McDaniels, the New England Patriots, Malcolm Butler, Kevin Durant and the Warriors, the East Coast, the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, and so much more to get into. Plus, the Love Doctor's still around. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Stephen A. ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Stephen A. Smith Show is brought to you by Jared the Galleria of Jewelry, turning feelings into jewelry. That's why he went to Jared. 888-729-3776 is 888-SAY-ESPN. One of the other things I didn't want to get into, is, you know, this story percolating about how Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers are not really targeting anything in 2018. And it's really 2019 that they're targeting, where the Kevin Durants of the world, the Jimmy Butlers of the world, and others are available via free agency. That's not what they're going to do right now. Let me say this. It's not the unwise move to make. But you certainly would be thinking about upgrading immediately if Lonzo Ball had proven to be the answer with the number 2 overall pick. Jury's still out on him, but we need to see more. Bottom line, Kyle Kuzma's the real deal. Tremendous upside. We like him. Lonzo Ball, let's see. That's number 1. Number 2, from what I'm hearing, this is what I'm hearing, just so everybody understands this. Magic Johnson and those guys, no one knows. But what you're hearing is that, you know what? Luke Walton still has some things to prove. And Luke Walton wasn't hired by Magic Johnson. He was hired by Jeannie Buss and Jim Buss. And Magic Johnson, who's to say that he wouldn't make a change? He is the president of basketball operations. If anybody can convince Jeannie to flow along with whatever decision he makes, it's Magic Johnson. And so when you look at it from that perspective, David Fizdale, former assistant in Miami, former head coach in Memphis, who was unceremoniously dismissed earlier this season, who, by the way, had no problem with it because he wanted out. You're hearing rumors percolating more and more that he could end up being the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And that if he were the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, there would be a good shot that he could go out there and recruit LeBron to come to L.A. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Is it impossible? No. It's not impossible. I don't know, but these are the kind of things that you're hearing circulating around NBA circles. That's just the way it goes. New York, Kristaps Porzingis gets hurt, goes down. What's there to say, y'all? The more I think about it, listen, I believe in Steve Mills and Scott Perry. I think the organization is in good hands with those two moving forward. I don't agree with the decision not to get Eric Bledsoe here early in the season when you had an opportunity to. I am not sold on Frank Ntilikina at all. The number 8 overall pick. I would have preferred to have Dennis Smith Jr. I would have preferred to have Malik Monk. I would have preferred to, I would have preferred to have Malik Monk. Maybe you would have had to give Tim Hardaway Jr. $71 million, even though I like Tim Hardaway Jr., who, by the way, got nastily dunked on last night by the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Man, look, Tim Hardaway Jr., don't be mad, bro. That could have happened to anybody. You shouldn't have found yourself under the basket like that. But I mean, look, let's just say, let's put it this way. The Greek freak's private parts was in his face. Okay? He jumped over this man for the dunk. It was a sensational play. It was one of the highlight reels for the ages. And Tim Hardaway Jr. will infamously be attached to that for many, many years to come. Just get over it, bro. It's not death. It happens. But it was embarrassing. Yes, it was. But the New York Knicks, I don't know what y'all want me to say. I'm not going to lie to you. Believe it or not, Kristaps Porzingis, if it wasn't for him, you know what we'd have to admit, and nobody's thought about this? The Brooklyn Nets are actually a better story. As bad as they are this year, they've been highly competitive in a lot of their games, and their record is not that far off from the Knicks. And when Atkinson took over that team and you looked at the roster this year, Dinwiddie and all of these boys, you never heard of them in your life. And let's face reality. I mean, it was catastrophe when Jeremy Lin went down. That's how insignificant the Brooklyn Nets were. But lo and behold, they've been competitive. They've been competitive. And you got to give some credit where it's due. I expected them to be much worse. I really did. But that has not been the case with Sean Marks and Atkinson and those boys. And you got to give them a little credit. You really do. You just have to. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Back to the phones we go. Al in Sacramento, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Mr. Stephen A. Smith. Been watching you for a long time. NBA, I just call you Mr. NBA. You are the greatest in analysis.
Thank you.
Just love to read, watch, and now listen. Anyway, and I called because I'm a huge Laker fan. Listen, I played basketball at a high school level in the 70s at 6'3" power forward back in those days. And so, but I love to watch UCLA basketball and then the Lakers. All the great old teams, Goodrich, West, Baylor, all that, all the way through.
Go ahead.
I wanted to see, so you're GM now, poof. Stephen A. is GM of the Lakers. I want Paul George. I just love Paul George. I love his game all around. I just think
did you see that? Did you see that show he put on last night? It was something special to watch. It was something special to watch.
I mean, everybody was worried. I mean, I liked him in Indianapolis. I watched him. It's sad he got hurt. He had problems. He gets to OKC. He's helped. Let's face it, Carmelo has not been part of that deal. What he's added to that. But Paul George, oh my goodness. I just pray that the Lakers can figure a way to get him. And then don't overstretch, right? I mean, LeBron is the greatest. He's the best. I'm just worried in the modern era, Stephen A., right? You got to have an accountant. You got to have money. You got to figure every nuance about how to make this cap system work. It's crazy.
Well, listen, you got to do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, as you pay attention to it, you look at it and what have you, the bottom line is simple. You can make the cap work. You can get rid of a couple of contracts, particularly if you have somebody to take the Julius Randle off your hands or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, if I'm Magic Johnson, listen, if you want LeBron James, you get Paul George, LeBron James would need to consider coming went to L.A. If you can get Paul George. But I'm not sure Paul George is just going to up and leave Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook's the kind of dude that makes you want to stay with him. I mean, because what a warrior. What a warrior. What an absolute warrior. And I know that, you know what, he's a shooter first sometimes, and he doesn't make the greatest decisions sometimes. I get all of that. But I'm telling you right now, Russell Westbrook's a flat-out superstar. And to me, it would be hard-pressed for folks to leave. Now, you, Kevin Durant, you could leave to go and play with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That makes sense, even though I still think it was a weak move. It makes sense. And, you know, you Paul George, you leaving to go and play in L.A., if you leave, it's only because of location. Because if Russell Westbrook and this same Oklahoma City team was with the Lakers, Paul George would have re-upped by now. It's just that simple. It's locale. That's what it's about. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's the number to call. Your calls to close out the show in a minute. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
I was watching a little bit of that New Edition profile on one of them channels the other day. It was actually kind of good. This year, be the one who wins Valentine's with 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 18 pink and red enchanted roses for only $29.99. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN, please. Back to the phones we go before we get on out of here. Don't have much time, so make your points real quick. Let's go to Noah in Detroit. You're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, Noah.
Hey, Mr. Smith, how are you doing? It's me,
I'm
Noah.
all right.
So I'm a big Lion fan, been a Lion fan my whole life, waiting for that Super Bowl to come around with Matt Stafford. What do I have to look forward to with Matt Patricia coming after that atrocious defensive play he had in the Super Bowl?
I have no idea. It remains to be seen, because I got to tell you something right now. Any faith that I had in him as a defensive coordinator, I mean, was it him? Was it Belichick? Was it the absence of Malcolm Butler? What the hell was it? They ranked 30th against the pass, 20th against the rush, like 29th in yards allowed, but only 5th in points allowed. And you know what? Bill Belichick and his staff are known for saying that statistics are for dummies. So don't go by the statistics. Go in the end by the wins and the losses. And that's really what it comes down to. You can look at it that way, or you can look at it totally differently by saying, okay, I got Matthew Stafford, the highest paid player in football last season, and you got a quarterback position shored up. We should be fine. It's hard to say. We'll see.
All right.
Take it easy. My man. Let's go to Chris in Rochester. You're live with Stephen A. real quick. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Stephen A. Thanks for taking my call.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm a fan of OKC. I like what they've been doing as far as their rotation goes with Eustace and Grant and different personnel.
I agree.
My question for you is, if Joe Johnson were to be added to the roster, do you think that would bring them a little closer to Golden State in an overall series?
I think so, because I think what you'd have is either production off the bench, or you know what, you can go with that 5-star lineup. Remember, Roberson was in the lineup. He was just a defensive option. But Joe Johnson is one of them just cool brothers that shows up, particularly at crunch time. You can have him on the floor either with Melo, or when Melo is out and sub for Melo, along with Westbrook and Paul George, and you can't leave Joe Johnson alone because he can hit perimeter shots. So that would be a big pickup for them. I think it's something that they should consider. Appreciate the call, though. Thank you. Chris in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. Real quick. Go ahead, man.
All right, real quick, Stephen A. Just touch on what Cleveland did yesterday. I mean, I've just never seen a team, Stephen A., playing alongside the best player in the world have no fight. It's kind of discouraging to watch competitive basketball go down like that. And one quick thing about OKC, and this is my opinion, Stephen, I believe that maybe OKC could consider moving Carmelo, only because the fluidity of what I'm seeing from them, and there's nothing that Paul George or Russell Westbrook can't do that Carmelo can do, if that makes sense. They need to add more depth. They need somebody to come in and spell for Steven Adams, because Golden State could not keep Steven Adams off the glass yesterday, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though, Stephen A.
Well, I think if you're Oklahoma City, the way things are flowing right now, you don't move anybody. The fact is, when Melo is flowing, that's great. But when Melo is not flowing, then Paul George takes over with Russell Westbrook. You can do that. Not to mention the young brothers that they got coming off the bench. See, the beauty is deficient as they are defensively when Roberson is out compared to what they are when he's in there. Here's the advantage. Roberson gives you no offense whatsoever. So anybody that can come in his place and give you some offense, along with the ability for them to cover themselves defensively, I think they'll be just fine. And I think if you're Oklahoma City, it took you this long to get flowing. You don't interrupt it at all. You keep flowing and make it happen.
All right. Well said. Thank you, Stephen A.
That's my belief. Take it easy. Lots of stuff to get into. I cannot believe how awful Cleveland looked last night. I don't think they want to go back to the finals. I really, really don't. And I definitely know they don't want to lose to Boston. It would surprise me at all if Cleveland lost in the semifinals. As for the Warriors, I'm not worried about them, but Houston and OKC is making things interesting in the West. And that's what San Antonio's still winning games without Kawhi Leonard. The West could get very interesting, but so can the East. That is some NFL talk coming up tomorrow, 22 hours from now. Until then, peace and love, everybody.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.